Happy Thanksgiving, all, but more importantly, welcome along here tonight for round number 3 in Baku. We had the Season 1 race here 2 seasons prior, where it was filled with drama, fun, and a bunch of highlights we'll talk about throughout tonight's event. But more importantly, it is Season 3, Tier 3, Round 3 in Azerbaijan. And I was supposed to have a co-com tonight, which would be RPL Titan Iron, but he has bolted in the, I guess, sense of fearing there will be no room for him in the lobby, but there is no second V-carb for tonight, which should give him space, so I'm hoping he joins back. If he does, he will be my co-com for the night. And I'm just going to double check. There is still no second V-carb, so he should be good to join. Hoping he does join back. But anyway, I'm Ryan Searles. It's good to have you all here and good to have you all watching. I'm thankful to be here tonight, and I'm also thankful to have you guys here tonight in the Twitch chat watching. But I believe Mally41 is the second V-carb now. So we'll just hold off on that. Now there's 20. Alright, well, never mind. Anyway, I do at least want to have Titan here regardless of whether there's a spot for him in the lobby. Now we just have Will loaned out to V-carb, so that just changes everything I said. But, Titan, I still want to have you here. Good to have you, by the way. Happy Thanksgiving. But, you know, back in this race 2 seasons prior, there was a lot of chaos and a lot of opportunity. It was going to be originally Invade and George for the victory, battling it out, but it didn't end up that way after a late safety car. You got to think tonight with the chaos that happens around the circuit, even in the past, some people will be thankful to at least have the opportunity to be up there, whether they're in a back marker car or not, and some people will be thankful to get the result from the chaos that will ensue. The first full grid in Tier 3 since a long time, F1 Shorts mentions. Hello, chat. Good to see you guys. Yeah. It will be a chaotic one tonight for sure. And I want to talk about China last week before we get to it. Last week in China, the Shanghai circuit, we had chaos ensue. Not originally, but once we hit lap 16 where 3 drivers lagged out, that changed the complexion of the race entirely. And I'll tell you right now, if it weren't for that restart, maybe you could say Devin would have not won, but it all played out just the way it did for Devin to take his first win from P19 on the grid, worst to first challenge completed there. And yeah, we have quite a bit to talk about from Baku. Let's start off with basically our standings before we get to the headlines. Lyral Fusion, who took the podium in the previous round, also is the only driver to have 2 podiums in the opening start of the season, making it 100% podium rate, meaning the championship lead is his. 43 points he has over now Devin, second with 25, 18-point gap there. Beatnik, a reserve, sits third. Alex Norris, fourth, and Neski sits fifth in the championship. McLaren have taken the constructors' lead over Red Bull with a bigger gap this time. They already had it from round 1, but I emphasize the fact that they've taken it with a bigger lead just because Red Bull should have really capitalized even more with what Devin did, but that did not happen. And Fusion getting P2 was very crucial for the team after Netsky DNF from the race last week. Ferrari sit third, Haas sit fourth. Haas got another P5 finish with Invade this time. Again, equaling Haas's best finish in the tier. We also have Williams, who sit 5th ahead of the 2 lower teams, Mercedes and Aston Martin. Ain't that a surprise? And we already have an off. JNR is the first one to go off. He is trying to loop it back around fully without touching the barrier. He avoids the barrier, but he's going to come out right in front of the Williams when he re-enters the circuit. We spoke about the standings already, and by the way, just to clarify, all teams have scored. All teams have scored this season. And that's the big thing. No team ending up tonight without any points to start the season, which is pretty good. But anyway, let's go through our headlines, penalties, and changes. We have drivers already trying to start laps. I believe F1 Shorts will be our first one. We'll ride on board with him while we talk about those headlines, penalties, and changes for tonight. So, Polish Hammer was promoted to the podium last week after Tim Bed was penalized. Zora's already had an off as well, by the way. That's 2 drivers now. But I want to talk about Polish's podium that he got in the storage room. I did ask if I could mention this from Polish already, for those wondering. But he found out after the Grand Prix in China last week, and after all of our races completed, that he could have potentially ended up homeless. Obviously, he said he's figured out a temporary situation, so that's why we're even mentioning this to begin with. But a very good comeback story to at least say the week he found that out, the week he got the podium. So again, although it wasn't Tim Bed's podium, congrats to Polish. That is a very, very heartwarming story to come out of China with, regardless of the incident he got in, because he did get penalized and still stayed on the podium. He was giving me some slack for saying, you didn't mention my comeback enough. Well, there you go. It's mentioned again. Our next headline, we have to talk about Drift King. Of course, we already know he has the season ban. He left the league after Bahrain, but this is just a general reminder that this season ban goes the entire distance. It's not going to change whatsoever. Valkyrie, now full-time for Mercedes. She was previously the Williams full-time driver. We have, I believe it's Max, his name in the Discord, I believe is Torpedo. Full-time Williams, and invalidating his lap time. Full-time Williams for the remainder of the season. It was Cal, 63, who dropped to reserve, now making Maddie the full-time Alpine driver. We have Jim Bob, who used to race here a long, long time ago, joining back and on our grid again. He is in the Aston Martin. Welcome back, Jim Bob. We'll go over our loans, drivers missing, and reserves in a little bit, but F1 Shorts, first driver to cross the line, goes third. Faded, JNR, Tim Bed, and Netsky were our most recent ones to cross. That's 5 drivers who've gotten a time. Now we're going to make it 6 momentarily. That is the Ferrari of Polish Hammer going fastest. And very good stuff there, where Alex Norris will take it back. Next is the next Sauber, and that is Zora clocking in a time 4/10 behind his teammate. Good on Zora not to be too far off of his teammate. The Sauber in this race, 2 seasons prior, the only time we ever ran Baku in Tier 3, actually did get a points finish, and they are on a good streak right now with P11 or better in their last 5 races. 4 of those being points finishes. We have yellow flags. Valkyrie now getting out of the way. We're going to switch off of her and get onto somebody who's on a lap. Lyral Fusion is starting one. Mythic is crossing for one. Ferrari 1-2 as things stand. Polish Hammer was one of those drivers in the Sauber back in the Season 1 race, but he did not score points after the trouble he had. Mythic thought he was going to miss turn 1 and now takes the long way to get through it. We're going to go to Lyral Fusion's lap because he is the championship leader. But either way, Polish Hammer running inside the top 5, running inside what could have been a podium based on the safety car coming out later on in the Grand Prix. Ended up getting spun by Lennon and he had to repair his front wing and really never recovered. You know who did a good point, though? Academy teammate, Faded Knights, and also Sauber driver for tonight. He returns. He is in that car alongside Zora, replacing Wrecked by Storm for the event. Faded Knights, 1 point last season in the Grand Prix. Jim Bob in the Aston. Beatnik now gets to race for his own academy that he was a part of and assigned to at the start of the season. That is Ferrari Academy, but in the Haas. JNR gets the Red Bull tonight due to Devin not being here. We have others as well to mention. There is definitely more. Mally 41 on loan to RB. And he retires because he was put in the lineup late, so he is serving the qualifying ban he has. Faded Knights has left the session. Hopefully the game does not retire his car. That is a game glitch if it does. Meanwhile, Lyral Fusion does split both the Ferraris at the top of the table. He goes up to second. Max and Noah Boy yet to complete laps here. Let's ride on board with Noah Boy. It was a double RB DNF last week, and when the restart happened, Noah Boy did not rejoin the new lobby, but he was involved in a bit of controversy when he rammed the back of third place man at the time, Hyper, costing him maybe a potential podium. Not sure. Either way, the restart happened, so that kind of was irrelevant. F1 Short saying he's now dealing with an injury, but that is not going to hinder you too well, I'll tell you that. So yeah. Noah Boy will be our next one to cross and our last one to cross without a lap time yet. He will be second to last on our board, just ahead of 100 max. Lyral Fusion coming back to the pit lane. Hyper coming back to the pit lane. Spangley is on a flyer right now. He is 29 thousandths up on the time. And we're going to find out if he does complete this lap good enough to continue an improvement. And he does need this. I really feel he does need this. For the sake of the constructors, he definitely needs it. Full-time driver alongside Devin this season. Back in Season 1 this race, he was a part of a few collisions, but that's been his big thing. If he just stays out of trouble, he's fine. If he's in the trouble, he gets a worse result. He never seems to recover from those type of things. Now he'll go back to the pit lane. And that DRS was, I think, stuck open momentarily. So I'm not sure what happened there. For the Red Bull driver, Valkyrie is on a cooldown lap. JNR just started one. And very similar to Bahrain is what tonight will be for the Red Bull drivers. JNR and the Red Bull, full-time V-Carb driver. And Spangley in the Red Bull, full-time driver. Beatnik was in the Red Bull round 1, but I want to say where Spangley is right now is probably where Beatnik would be. And this is exactly what JNR is going to have to make a mental note in his head about. I need to be near my teammate. That is as simple as that. It's not as simple as racing in the V-Carb and trying to do your regular expectations. This is a team second in the Constructors' Championship. Some say they've had a downfall since last season, but this is only the first opening 2 rounds of the season. So you don't know what could happen. And it's also big expectations because it is the team who has won the last 2 Constructors' Championships. Some of our top 5 drivers are starting laps, but I want to stick with JNR just for now. You can tell around the circuit, you're riding it very, very close up against these walls. You got to be careful when you touch the curbs, because look at that. That is exactly what can happen when you jump over those curbs. A 1/10.5 up in the first sector, 7/10 in the second sector. This is much better than what we saw in Bahrain when JNR was in the Red Bull. And when you get the call up to Red Bull, when you're a V-Carb driver, there are definitely high expectations. He needs to fulfill those expectations, and he looks like he's doing that just now. As long as there was no mistake through the last sequence of corners, 16 to 20. Across the line he'll come, and he will be 5th fastest, just dispatching Hyper and ahead of his teammate. Netsky, 3/10 down. He invalidated. Polish Hammer is on a lap. Alex Norris is on a lap. Fusion is going to be starting one soon, but we'll go to Polish Hammer. I think tonight is a big night for him. F1 Shorts goes 5th fastest. That's 3 Ferrari Academy drivers inside the top 5, but Polish Hammer is going quite quick in the 2nd sector, up on the time, almost enough to snatch pole away from teammate Alex Norris. Now, there was rumor that Alex Norris, after this event, could be moved up to the next highest tier, Tier 2. After his race in China, you do think that is coming. It is a possibility. Polish Hammer using all the deployment and only stays 3rd, so being stuck below 10% as he was crossing line hindered him. Alex Norris improves a ton. 37.8 pole position with 6 minutes to go, and it might stay that way. Alex Norris, some will say, will be going to Tier 2 with that lap. He stays on pole right now, bettering the lap, making it maybe 3 for 3 for Ferrari. Very good stuff there from Alex Norris. Wrecked by Storm, who's missing the event tonight, is mentioning in the chat. Any guesses on the amount of safety cars tonight? Well, I could tell you guys for reference, when you do guess, 3/10, by the way, for Fusion. Wow. The first Baku race had multiple safety cars. Not just one, multiple. So we'll see what happens tonight. Riding on board with Leroy Fusion as we come through the castle section. Little lockup on the left front, but he should be okay. Regardless, he's putting quite the distance between him and Polish Hammer if he completes this lap. And there's already a big distance between his lap and Alex Norris's lap that he did. Riding on board with the McLaren. Let's see what he can do. Up still in the 2nd sector split. Fusion is going quite well, the championship leader. And last week, it was his 2nd place finish. Wow. It was his 2nd place finish. That meant he was on every single step of the podium in RPL. Max got in the way, and then he decided to retire on track. That's not allowed, but Fusion improves, and now is only 2/10 adrift from Alex Norris. That front row separated by 2/10, but there's an even closer gap from 3rd on back. Tim Bed invalidated a lap time there in the Mercedes. He could have been the first German on podium since Payox last week, but he got it taken away in the stewards room. Beatnik looks like he's starting a lap, or is he boxing? He is boxing and coming into the pits. Mythic out on track, out on an outlap. Valkyrie now crossing the line to start a lap here for Mercedes. Noah Boy is coming through the 1st sector and is up by 2/10. When you're 5 seconds away from pole position, you definitely need to be up in the 1st sector. Wow, Fusion almost had a major moment in the castle section. We've already seen about 4 or 5 drivers have big, close moments with the wall, and I'll tell you, it's not going to stop here. Leroy Fusion racing against time to get back to the pit lane here, I think. 7 seconds down. Of course, he's on an in-lap, but we're going to see what is possible here as we end the session quite soon, folks. Spangley is on a lap for Red Bull. Both Red Bulls sit 7th and 9th. Both going to be on the same side of the grid if they stay there, but I don't think Red Bull want to be this far down, especially with how good the Red Bull is around this circuit. And the Tier 1 race here recently ran. They came just shy of the victory with Cookie in a photo finish. 2/10 up Spangley is, and he needs to be. He needs to be 2/10 up, and he needs to find the time here to get ahead of his teammate and crack inside the top 5. Oh, he smacks the wall there before the castle section. And he almost does it in the castle section again. He nicked the wall right there, and that put him very much offline here. He'll go out wide, and he'll back off. There is a lot happening here, and we have drivers starting their final flying laps. 2 minutes to go. That was Valkyrie jumping up to the top 10. Nice lap for her. JNR crossing the line to start his final flying lap, but I think he went a little deep there down at turn 1. We have Spengly going to try to start another lap as well. They're in a big queue here at the final sector while they approach it. JNR, we mentioned him starting his final flying lap. Give us your predictions, chat, for what you guys think will be the pole time and who you think will be inside that top 3. Alex, Norris, and Fusion look very comfortable inside the top 2 spots. JNR, down in the time. He backed off. Spengly backing off, going to have cold tires as he lets this train of cars go. That was a Sauber he almost ran to the side of. Luckily, it was only Faded Knights on an outlap. Zora on a lap, 2 tenths up. Noah Boy did improve earlier on, but only just. Leon Miner, 7 tenths up in the first sector, now only a 10th. He might be on a cooldown lap. Alex Norris trying to go again for pole position. Polish Hammer trying to snatch his first away as well. There's a lot that can happen in the last 90 seconds of this session, folks. Polish Hammer crossing the sector split up on the time by only less than a 10th. 30 seconds remaining, and we're going to see drivers get to the checkered flag here very soon. Netsky, what's he doing? 3 tenths up. Very good stuff from the McLaren. F1 Shorts. A 10th down. Timbed starts his final lap. Fusion will not make the checkered flag unless he just does at the very last moment. Beatnik, Jim Bob, they got to the line just in time, but Fusion is running out of time and he won't make it there. Lyral Fusion, championship leader, misses the checkered flag, and you know who else does? Noah Boy, he was in the pit lane. First across the line, Leon Miner jumps up to the top 15. Good stuff there from Leon, who's had points finishes in the past at Baku. Next are our Ferraris. 2 tenths up for Alex Norris. He could be delivering a 3rd pole tonight for Ferrari in his name, and it could be the first time in Tier 3 they take 3 in a row. At round 3 in Tier 3, they have taken 3 in a row. Alex Norris does it. Polish Hammer finds time. Hyper jumps up to 4th. That's a good result for Alpine. Next across the line was Maddie. Double Alpine top 10, but will they stay that way? Now becomes the question. Netsky improves, but does not find any places. F1 Shorts next did find some time. He only stays in 6th. Next is the Sauber. That is, I believe, Faded. Good result here last time we were here. 16th to staying in 15th, or 16th. That was Spengly jumping up to 6th. The Aston is running out of fuel, it looks like, when crossing the line. That is mythic. We have more still to go. Valkyrie down on the time. Timbed now coming through the last corner. It's flat out through the sequence of S's. Timbed, podium stolen from him last week, but does jump some places up to the top 5. JNR next for Red Bull. Red Bull do keep both cars inside the top 10, but that is not what they wanted. Valkyrie also next. Jim Bob jumps up to 13th in his return. Beatnik had trouble on his lap. He has backed it down. So, Alex Norris makes it 3 for 3 to open up the season here in Baku, and he has been the qualifying master so far in Tier 3 this season. What a lap he pulled off at the end, because if it was not for that lap, well, he would have not had a bigger gap on Fusion, and maybe proving why he deserves to be in Tier 2. We'll find out what happens after this Grand Prix, because it is the deadline after tonight for who moves tiers and who does not. Both Ferraris starting inside the top 3. Polish Hammer gets his best start as well. Lyral Fusion, 2nd. Best start for him. Hyper, 4th. Timbed, 5th. Good results from a lot of guys who are in good cars, but never seem to have the qualifying spots there. Like a Polish Hammer. Hyper not in a good car, but in the top 5 again. Timbed in the top 5. Good stuff there. Netsky, 6th place for him. Maybe not what we expected, but still a lot to play for in the race. Spengly, 7th. F1 Shorts 8th for Haas. Couldn't deliver a top 5 this time, but still not far off of it. JNR for Red Bull, the second one, in 9th. Matty 10th for Alpine, running on the top 10 after being awarded a full-time drive. Both Aston Martin drivers outside of the top 10. Valkyrie back there as well. Beatnik back there. Leon faded. 2 drivers around the circuit who have had good results will have to do it from the back of the field. And we do have 20 drivers, but the only one who did not compete in qualifying was Mally 41. He had to serve a qualifying ban due to being put in the lineup late. So, 26 laps among us tonight. Let us know what you think. For those of you watching, what will happen and what can happen? We have a full dry race, and we're expecting a one-stop to go with it. F1 Shorts mentioning in the Twitch chat he's worried about tonight's race. Goatley chiming in on the academy he races for. And the drivers have been given the cue that when they are allowed to ready up, it's when L Mythic does. So that is the person that is given permission to ready up first. And once he does, the remainder of the field can do the same. I just want to give you all one last recap here of our championship standings before we get going. We have 20 seconds. Fusion leads Devon by 18 points. Devon's not here. Beatnik is who's behind Fusion, 23 points the gap. McLaren sit in front with a 22-point gap over Red Bull. 10 seconds. Get your final predictions in here for the race. "26 laps aboard tonight here in Baku. The 5 red lights come on ahead of the drivers, and it is lights out, and away we go. Look at already the Alpine of Hyper trying to split the middle. A squeeze play move that could have got him the lead, and it didn't. Yellow flags further back. No one has been caught out, but Hyper up to second. Alex Norris leads still, and Fusion back in third holds on to Timbet and Polish, who's lost a ton of places. Further back, there is trouble. That is Noah Boy back there into the wall, I believe. Yes, he is. Further back, Polish Hammer being challenged by Netsky for 5th now. We have the top 10 places also being under pressure with Mythic up to 9th. JNR back to 10th. Looks like the Aston Martin of Mythic has got the start he needed, but he needs more if he wants to get a good result like he did in Season 1. And we have more trouble. That is, I believe, Mally or Max falling down the order, but JNR wanted to have a go at Mythic. He couldn't. Let's give you the positions gained here. You got to be careful the castle section, and that was Netsky slamming into the wall and missing his front wing. VSC deployed, and I'm going to tell you right now, it probably won't be our last one. Oh, a big collision here while drivers try to slow down and give the place back. That's massive trouble. Let's see if the others avoid it. We have one on the wall. That is the Aston. That's Jim Bob. All those drivers were trying to avoid Netsky, as some got illegal overtakes, others didn't, and that's what that did. 10-second penalty handed out to F1 Shorts. Spangley, both victims of illegal overtakes there or collisions under the safety car, or excuse me, under the VSC. But a calm start until we got to the castle section, and the VSC ends now. No one had a drive-through, so everyone came out unscathed. But you know what? Netsky, the big loser on the start, because he's going to the pit lane to repair the front wing damage. Both stoppers trade places, but that will be the big headline tonight. That McLaren need both their drivers up there, while Ferrari already have it that way. Hyper closing in on the Ferrari. JNR up a place on F1 Shorts there. The top 5 seem to have formed their own train here at the front of the field. And then besides that, it seems everyone is split in their own races. Mythic and Valkyrie having a little ding-dong right there for 9th. Valkyrie could not get up a place, but she would be happy to know that she has gained places on the opening lap. 2 for her, 2 for JNR, 2 for Hyper, 2 for Mythic, 3 for Leon, and 3 for Mally. So, the lovely duo of Mally and Leon, good friends there, gaining places on the opening lap. exactly what they need if they want to get a good result for their teams tonight. Well, F1 Short's talking about the 10-second he got. It will have him serve the penalty, but he's got to hope for that to happen under a safety car for the best circumstance possible. The game thought he brake checked the driver behind, as he noted, when pausing under the VSC. But anyway, Hyper reeling in the Ferrari and going for it. He will take over the lead right before the start-finish line as we go on to lap number 3. DRS already enabled, but Lyro Fusion says, I want to be a part of this fight. Fastest lap set. That's a big statement. Further back, F1 Shorts in on the fight. Valkyrie up a place. Jim Bob up a place. It's all happening behind our top 5 who are duking it out for the race lead. Alex Norris wants it back, but does he want it that desperately yet? No. Here's Fusion diving down the inside, wheel to wheel here, almost touching wheels as we go into the corner, and it looks like Fusion is ahead of the Ferrari. So a trade in places at the front of the field. Now JNR dropping down the field. He has had trouble down at turn 3, and that's going to hinder him majorly. But it's the Alpine/McLaren Academy running 1-2. Meanwhile, the top 5 still forming the train they have to try and fight it out amongst themselves. 2 Ferrari cars up there, 1 McLaren, 1 Alpine car, but same academy, and Timbet, who lost the podium last week in China. Now, if you just missed the start, folks, as Spengley brushes the wall, if you just missed the start, both F1 Shorts and Spengley were dished out 10-second time penalties under the VSC for Netsky slamming the castle wall and missing his front wing. The game thought, due to their collision, that it was worthy of a 10-second. Down the straight, into turn 1, Fusion following, but not close enough, just getting to the back of Hyper. Now, Hyper makes a mistake at turn 1 and allows Fusion through, but only just. He cut off Alex Norris, and that could have almost been dangerous. Mythic and Valkyrie trade spots for 8th while that happened. Hyper closing on a Fusion, but cannot do anything there. He's got Alex Norris actually challenging around the outside. That was crucial, and it will be pivotal for Alex Norris to hold these places, especially for Ferrari's hunt in the Constructors' Championship. And there was a trade for 8th. Valkyrie back through on Mythic. Welcome back, Titan. Good to have you.
Yeah, till spot opens up, I'm gonna have to try to help call the action on my phone, but unfortunately my phone
okay.
on Twitch is about second and a half behind. I just saw a little bit ago on the little stats thing, I did see JNR get past Leon for the 12th place spot. I think JNR's, I didn't see the qualifying, but look at JNR either fell some places or he's got some work to do on his end.
You're right, JNR did fall 3 places. He started up in 9th, his teammate up in 7th. So, 2 different races on the Red Bull side, 1 gaining, 1 losing.
Yikes.
And you know who also gained spots in the opening lap? Leon and Mally. Mally had the qualifying ban, Leon didn't, but good stuff from both of them. We switch back to our leaders. Alex Norris in pursuit of Hyper. Hyper closer to Fusion. Look at the momentum gain down to turn 1. 203 miles per hour. Polish makes it a Ferrari 3-4 on our charts. Good stuff from Polish. I want to talk about Polish quickly, Titan, as we're going to see a swap in the lead, I think, momentarily, as Mythic gets Valkyrie. Polish last week didn't know if he'd even be racing here tonight. Didn't know what the situation would be. It's good that he got the podium in China after it was all said and done because, like I said in the pre-show, if you missed it, he was on the brink of being homeless. He did allow me to mention that. I just want to clarify. But a good story for him to have the podium, Titan, last week in China as Valkyrie gets another one or doesn't. Gets passed by another one. That was Maddie.
Yeah, Maddie got him in turn 2. I got Valk in turn 2. Shoot, sorry.
Yeah, no, all good. JNR tried to shoot up the outside of Jim Bob. Will try it again now here into this section of corners. Look at this, a little lockup. They come together.
Woo.
And Jim Bob has been turned out worse. He got spun on the right rear tire while JNR went for a lousy dive bomb. I don't know if he deserved the space there or not.
I mean, by the look of it, JNR had the wheel. Oh, yeah, I saw that.
You were saying?
Anyway, I think JNR had his rear wheel with his front wheel with Jim Bob's rear wheel. I don't think that would have worked because I believe there was a couple of incidents that in the past where that could be resulted in penalty. So it's possible JNR could get penalized. I've seen some lag spikes.
We've got the virtual safety car deployed. Something is happening. Maddie and Mythic trade places down the main straight while trying to figure out, and we have a lobby glitch. I'm not sure if this is my end or not, but I'm gonna look at Malley's stream just to be sure. It is my end. So we will get an invite back to the game. Yeah, no, it is my end, but I don't understand why this is still a game glitch. And this is happening a lot more, too. Folks, the race is not over, but my time in the session is momentarily. Why this is a game glitch, I don't understand. Let me join back the session. While that was happening, VSC ends, and as you know, I cannot see the session. But Malley 41 was one of those drivers to pit. Leon got off the soft compound tires. I'm not sure who the VSC was for.
I believe it was for Noah Boy. I saw him plummet to the back of the field behind Neski, so I'm thinking it might be Noah Boy.
So, while I join back the session, I'm looking on board with Malley 41, who got a move done on Leon. Good stuff there. So, Malley's going to be behind teammate Noah Boy. Yeah, I know. Everyone's going to have to be waiting who's watching or engineering a driver, which is very unfortunate. More yellow flags, and that is Noah Boy off. We got radio commentary because of what's going on our screens. Yeah. Titan, I really don't know why this is still a glitch. I don't get it.
I have no idea either, but hopefully you get back in because I'm seeing on the screen here you're stuck on joining session.
I know.
I think probably you're gonna have to
cancel and then join back off of Egg again.
I think you're probably gonna have to. I think you're probably gonna have to exit the game and come back.
Hope not, but we're gonna try one more time before doing that. Netsky.
Apparently, Shorts is bouncing off the wall. Apparently.
Yeah, so that's what's happening there. I was just gonna say Netsky, who's in 16th. I'm not sure if he pitted or not, but Noah Boy, he does after he needed to repair a front wing. I have got back in the session, and before I do click spectate, or right as I do, I want to talk about Polish Hammer's podium last week with you, Titan, quickly. What a feel-good story for him to do that, even if it was the stewards room.
Very much so. As I'm just looking at yeah, quite a few wild things here. Seeing that, yeah, Devin Polish Hammer getting that podium, very good for him. Especially with mainly with the third place driver Timbed getting that penalty. That hurt him quite a bit. That's for sure. But yeah, quite a spectacle. Not gonna lie. I see you're back in there on my screen. Like I said, I just saw some carbon fly.
I saw that too, but I can't tell who that was damaged from. I don't see any Ferrari missing any bit of end plate, but if that was a Ferrari, that is very concerning up at the front of our field. By the way, under that VSC, which we did miss a little bit of.
Fusion pitted, yeah.
He did pit, yup. So did Timbed, Mythic, Hyper, Spangley. They all got their pit stops out of the way under the VSC, so advantage to them. Ferrari, disadvantage.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, we did mention on in the past on Tier 1 that maybe the VSC worked for their advantage and all that, and then a few laps later, boom, safety car, and it basically kicked the whole disadvantage for the medium tire guys out of the water.
Netsky, I think, down the straight weaving, showing his displeasure with Valkyrie, I guess for maybe cutting him off in the braking zone. I'm not too sure what happened there, but Netsky, he's not happy with the Brazilian driver. And Titan, you were a part of the commentary in this race in Tier 1 the last time we were here. A photo finish down to the wire. You gotta wonder, with a closer grid this season, at least in the races, I know Alex Norris and Fusion just had a massive gap over the field in qualifying. If you had just witnessed that, a closer field in the races, I feel like we're destined to see something like that tonight, even if it's not for the win.
I completely agree. It could be for the win, could be for the last spot on the podium, or it could be anywhere else in the top 10 of the points. You could see a photo finish. Photo finishes at this track are quite common here. I won't lie about that. And
F1 Shorts
some
in,
spectacular racing.
but he did not keep all four wheels on that white line. We'll see if anyone sends that in.
I think he bounced out the wall slightly going it on his entry.
We'll see if he repairs a bit of front wing while we watch him. I can't tell, but he is serving the 10-second. Spangley, that's why he pitted under the VSC to serve the 10-second. Down the main straight, Hyper covers off Mythic, and Fusion covers off JNR on the chance to re-overtake down to turn 3.
Yeah, Fusion just gets another another driver in. JNR, Alex Norris, Polish, Maddie, Jim Bob, and Faded those are in the top 10 that have yet to pit off of those medium compound tires. We have Beatnik, who's on the hard compound, still out on the track. That VSC is not going to affect him much at all because he's playing the alternative strategy.
Mally 41 jumping ahead of F1 Shorts as F1 Shorts exited the pit lane ahead of him and then swapped it around, and then they went side by side down here to the corner. That is Max who's in the runoff, but meanwhile F1 Shorts does finally clear Mally 41, and the yellow flags are still out for Max, who is finally back going. So the Williams team not having the night they would have wanted. Damage on the right end plate for Max.
Thinking he might have overshot the braking zone going into turn number 4, so he's gonna. Once you go off in that runoff, it's quite difficult to get out of there. Mainly, you're gonna have to like reverse and just hope no one's coming, and you don't want to get rear-ended hard. That would suck to get rear-ended.
Down the main straight, Hyper switching to 7th gear, switching to the right side when he overtakes Faded Knights for the last point spot here. This is what the battle's for. Mythic in the background waiting for his opportunity, and he will take it around the outside. Faded from 9th to 11th, but the Sauber drivers know this is a long race. Zora up there still yet to pit as well. Fusion gets Maddie. Valkyrie gets Zora. So a lot of trade in places as we go down the main straight, and even in other places as well.
Yeah, lots of jumbling around for the positions here, and it's all up for play here as these drivers are just filing in through the positions. You got those that pit under the VSC that are just clawing position just so they don't have to deal with too much traffic when the other drivers go in. Yeah, just saw Zora get a little frisky with Nesky.
Crash!
Ooh, wreck.
Zora hits the McLaren, and Nesky's day goes from bad to worse. McLaren need a good day in the constructors. That won't help the case. Speaking of the case has been made for F1 Shorts to get the place back.
F1 Shorts gang showing his muscle here against.
Oh no!
Oh, Zora into the wall. That's a small bit of karma.
At the corner before castle section. Yeah, some could claim that is karma. You're right.
Bear in mind, I mean,
Polish.
Zora. Oh, go ahead.
In. Sorry, Polish in.
Yeah, so Polish going in, getting off the mediums and onto the hard compound tire. Tim Bed just seeing get past Beatnik for P6 spot. And let's see, where is Polish going to cycle out? I believe he's going to be right behind. He's going to be right behind Beatnik and Tim Bed because Jim Bob is in as well.
that will also become the other question. Where does the Aston come out? Speaking of the Aston, Mythic up to 9th, faded back up to 10th. Beatnik still tantalizingly close to the back of the Mercedes.
Jumble up on your words there, I can tell. One thing I just also want to know, as Netsky does get past Zora, and probably Netsky's going like, that's karma for you for what you did to me.
I just saw a piece of end plate go flying in the air, by the way, Titan. That is not good. I believe that was from F1 Shorts, maybe clipping the barrier out of the exit of turn 1. Regardless, I have to note this because it is Baku, and in this race, 2 seasons ago, we had 3 DNFs, and we also had more than that in the Tier 1 race recently ran here.
Yeah.
We're at lap 11, and we're also without a retirement so far in this race as well.
Don't jinx it. Every time you say that, you jinx it in some way.
That's true. That's true, but we have had a lot of mistakes made from the drivers regardless of that. Jim Bob cycled out behind Valkyrie, but panned out ahead of the McLaren.
Yeah. I mean, Netsky is still having to deal with Zora, and Netsky's probably not happy after what happened a couple laps ago. It's the leader of Alex Norris's team. I can see that. So that means Fusion will be inheriting the lead. Looks like Matty's going to be heading into the pits as well. And, yeah, oh, JNR. It looks like Matty and JNR did not keep 4 tires with the white line. So if they get reported, both of them are looking at penalties for pit lane infringement.
Look at this. Alex Norris only behind Timbed. So we've got a race on our hands between Alex and Fusion.
Time loss isn't really that bad this track, honestly, because Alex Norris was like, almost 12 seconds ahead of second place?
But you could say that's part of what the VSC does. Anyway, Alex ahead of Beatnik. Beatnik will try and put the fight there to the Mercedes if possible. But remember, he has yet to pit, so it's really not his race to do that. It's Polish's race to get in DRS of Beatnik there. I must say, you know, the mistakes we've seen so far, I think we're even lucky only just to have the 2 VSCs, Titan. There were also a lot of mistakes in qualifying that could have seen drivers go out of the qualifying session. And of course, so far tonight with the mistakes in the race, could have went out of the Grand Prix. Beatnik lagging up a storm there back and forth.
Speaking of strange things, take a look at the bottom of the screen. F1 Shorts pitted, and he's, for the second time, he's on the soft compound tire. He's going to be pitting Baku again.
Right, he said Baku is not going to be one of his best tracks, and we could already see it based on the strategy. Noah Boy is into the pit lane, and he is our first one out of the event. Luckily, not on track.
I'll try to join in now, so I don't have to worry about the whole thingamahoozin.
Well, Timbed keeps second over Alex Norris. Beatnik holding on to 4th over Polish. And it could be one of those nights where a Haas driver does get a good result. But just remember, with Beatnik's case, he's still yet to pit. Meanwhile, Alex Norris jumping ahead of the Mercedes. Polish Hammer going through on the Haas driver of Beatnik. That's Academy teammates. And that's actually Academy teammates properly for the first time this season.
Just trying to get on in here. There we go. There we go. We're in here now. Giggity goo.
Overtaking Faded, by the way, Titan. That's for 15th. But Faded just made his first pit stop, and so does Zora now.
Well, honestly, for those that don't know, by the way, I'm just going to mention this piece about with Zora. Zora actually is a small bit of a meme in regards to RPL, and he actually has some infamous RPL history. Fact is that basically, I believe it was in Tier 1 or Tier 2 Singapore last year, Zora set the record for the quickest time to be lapped. And that was near the end of lap 2 at Singapore. He was the fastest person to ever get lapped in an RPL event.
Also, just for good measure to mention, he had a big blow when he came together with George Up Williams in the Season 7 Tier 2 Saudi race, which I believe that was what saw him banned
over the back of the Red
momentarily.
Bulls.
when he went reversing. Yeah, he went reversing on the track, so that's what got him in trouble. You spoke about the Red Bulls. 9th place up for grabs. Some drivers yet to pit, mainly just Beatnik. Meanwhile, the Red Bulls do swap places on the main straight, but you gotta be careful not to let Valkyrie get there and challenge. She will challenge. She'll go through on JNR, but staying behind Spengler.
I think that's a bit of a smaller play on Valkyrie's part. She knows she can't catch Spengler, but she's going to stay within his toe, stay within his DRS, and hopefully Spengler will make a mistake. Yeah, he made a little mistake on the exit of turn 2. This could be an opening that Valkyrie's looking for. She's trying down the inside, but Spengler fires off that overtake that keeps Valkyrie behind.
Whoa!
Yeah, I just saw that. That was a little scary.
Spengler clipping the rear of the wall. When Gecko clipped that wall in lap 1 of this race in Tier 1, he went out of the race. F1 Shorts sets the fastest lap. He's outside the points, and there's contact there. Spengler already has the end plate damage. Could be having more if this battle continues in the way it happened there. Look at Valkyrie cutting off the Red Bull just as we get to turn 7, and that's yellow flags for Faded, who has hit trouble down at turn 3. But this battle for 9th place, could become 8th, is one to watch. And that's why. Safety car. Beatnik gets a cheap free pit stop in the Haas. That safety car was maybe for Faded chopping off part of that wing.
Well, I can't tell from the angle on Faded right now. But he's... Yeah,
Fusion's in.
He's got
Alex Norris
damage.
follows. Timbed, Polish. Every single one of the drivers inside the top 5 all blink into the pits.
Jim Bob has no wing. Jim Bob has no wing.
So it could have been for Jim Bob and Faded both having wings fly off of their car.
This is going to be interesting here, as both Red Bulls again, only 2 tires within that. 2 tires within.
Valkyrie as well, Jim Bob as well. We've had wins stolen in Tier 1 races around the circuit, same with Tier 2 races,
what happened with
because
Flynn.
of that exact thing.
Ooh, that's not good.
What happened?
Double stacked, and Maddie also had to get the wing replaced.
Oh my word.
Well,
it was Flynn. I don't know if you're mentioning that. Flynn for Haas, who got a win stolen in Tier 2 once here because of that.
Oh, and Hyper had to get his wing replaced as well. That's why. So Maddie got hurt very, very hard in regards to it. Ferrari also had a double stack as well.
I was just going to say, they weren't the only ones to double stack. Sauber now do the same as well. Leon and Netsky prioritize track position, staying out right now in this race to try and get a top 10 finish. And if you are a American football fan, you would have been watching the Lions and Bears game. I can give you an update on that with 2 minutes left. Chicago Bears, they have the ball. Detroit Lions lead the game, though, by 3 points.
I swear, if the Lions lose to the bum-ass Bears, I'll be pretty upset.
That will be like Alex Norris or Fusion losing this race to Beatnik, who runs 3rd. That's just one of the biggest fumbles ever. But it's not an insult on Beatnik either, because Beatnik got a little lucky with the safety car.
Did you really just compare Beatnik to the Chicago Bears? Wow!
That's basically comparing Haas to the Chicago Bears, 7th best. Yeah, I mean, you know.
Good Lord, man.
I compared Beatnik to the Chicago Bears because he's in a Haas, not because he's Beatnik.
But still, good job, bro.
Well, I'll tell you this.
In that context.
You can submit it, not me. Max, Spengler, Leon, Netsky, they're all on the hard compound tires, by the way. F1 Shorts still out there on the softs. I feel like F1 Shorts is just banking on the fact we could get more safety cars. And Titan, I don't doubt it.
Yeah, it could be possible. I mean, with the field back together, this is going to be a bit on the pandemonium side. And by the way, a few laps ago, when Valkyrie was working with Spengler, and those who went into the step of the chicane in turns 5 and 6, Valkyrie slightly braked a bit too late, got into the back of Spengler, and he went to a bit of a slide, but kept it together and still managed to keep Valkyrie behind. That was a few laps ago, though. But I would say, given what's going on right now, currently the top 6, they have the best advantage to them. And in Hyper's case, he has a really nice advantage to him because he's got at least 4 cars ahead of him to try to pick off, and he doesn't have to worry about competition behind him because he's got his Academy teammate, Netsky, right behind him.
Haas and Alpine are the only 2 Tier 3 teams yet to have a podium. Right now, we're looking at Hyper in 6th, who could get it, Beatnik in 3rd, who currently has the place, and a lot more still to go. With 10 laps, we're going to be restarting with. Flag in the Lions and Bears game, less than a minute remaining, and there'll definitely be less than a minute remaining until we get going on this safety car restart. Well, Fusion has won once already. That was back in Bahrain with the McLaren 1-2. Alex Norris has not won with Ferrari, but he has won with an Italian team, the V-Carb, in Brazil. And Beatnik could become the first driver to have a podium in F1, F2, Tier 2, /F1.5, and Tier 3 if he just hangs on in 3rd.
Now, I just noticed I saw that Fusion had 2 warnings on him. I just had to double check to see if there were track limit warnings, but no. Seen on lap 6, Lero Fusion, and on lap 15, Faded Night, got a warning for crossing the pit lane exit line.
I think we might get a late one, Titan. We might get a late one here with the safety car. The safety car is speeding up but not coming in. Never mind. Well, scrap that.
It's going to be staying out for probably another lap, so once we get going, we're going to have about 9 laps left. And looks like Sora just decided to smack into the back of Max.
And that's unfortunate for him because he can't go pit and serve that 10-second now. He's going to have to wait until the safety car comes in, which is looking to be this time by. So, 17 laps in so far. If you've just missed anything, we've had a lot of drivers have a lot of offs and a lot of mistakes in qualifying, but nothing to warrant a DNF on track. Netsky was the first one to have trouble go his way when he chopped off his own front wing in the castle section on lap 1, causing a VSC, followed by another VSC later on. Netsky's trouble continued around that same time when Zora, it was either Zora or JNR, spun him around. I think it was JNR spinning Jim Bob. That was probably the other thing I'm missing. Either way, those 2 collisions happened in the time between the first VSC and now, and the safety car came out for Faded and Jim Bob, also knocking off their front wings. Nova Boy retired in the pit lane. 19 drivers still remain in this race. And I have to say, considering it's a Baku race, that's impressive. But Titan, those numbers might be coming down quite soon.
Yeah, it is Baku. Baku is quite unpredictable. It is a wing clippage galore at this track. I mean, you could be seeing drivers just getting a trim, or you can see some drivers getting a trim, others just going for a good type of cut, or in other cases with those missing wings, they're just going full shave, go bald.
Safety car is in this lap. We'll resume to action, but just a reminder, the Chicago Bears with 43 seconds, for those of you watching that game, have the ball, but just took a timeout. We'll keep you updated if we get another safety car. Meanwhile, Lero Fusion in control. Alex Norris waiting in the wings behind. When does Fusion smash the gas once more? He is weaving and waiting for that safety car to dip to the pit lane. It dips to the pit lane now. He can now go if he wants, but he will wait as much as he can to break the slipstream. Fusion, Alex, Beatnik, Timbed. 4 different teams inside the top 4. We're restarting in just a moment, but Fusion's leaving it very late and still weaving.
He's going to wait till right before the line to go.
Yeah, now. Back on the gas he goes. Jim Bob and JNR traded places. That's going to be something investigated later, I'm sure. Beatnik trying to make the move for a second to protect himself and further behind with Timbed. Also at the back of the field, we have trouble where drivers are going all out of order and making a lot of contact. Off goes Jim Bob. Off goes Matty.
Matty just took it a little too deep. Unfortunately, he just went off. Now he's backed up. He's going to get back into the groove. Now back into it. He's back under his own power. Unfortunately, he lost at least 7 spots from that. Red Bulls wound up switching with JNR going into 11th. Maui right behind in 12th. Now Maui, even though he's in VCOR, he's a Mercedes driver. He doesn't have to follow orders if he needs to. And wildly, guess who's in 10th? Leon.
Spangley got shoved into the wall right there.
Ooh,
2 corners before the castle, and we're going side by side to the castle. Leon stays in front. Ballsy move there, but it paid off for Leon.
That was a risk and a half, JR. I mean, you do not know the man you're going with.
Here's another one. Side by side to the left-hander here. Timbed takes over the podium. Polish takes over 4th. But Leon is hanging on for dear life right now. Down the inside, JNR goes, and we'll get the place on Leon. Leon has to wait another day. Mally 41, a day late and dollar short for him as well. But Timbed losing out on the top 2 race, which could trade places.
Hyper's all over the back of Polish now, looking to go on the inside to just fly his way up into 4th place spot. He has it for now. Polish backs up just a little go, and Polish now falls to 4th. Hyper up at 4th.
Leon trying to protect the place on JNR, and they clash! Both in the wall! Leon missing a front wing, Spangley missing a front wing. That's the safety car deployed for the 2nd time tonight. Them two came together, and that looks like their chance for points done.
And I think there was some displeasure because Leon slowed down to maintain Delta, and I just saw JNR just ram into the back of Leon. JNR is definitely not happy, but I think that's not the way to do it.
Both will have to repair those front wings. Carbon fiber flying all over the place out of the exit of turn 1. That same thing happened on the first lap of the race 2 seasons here prior. Now it's the 19th lap where it all happens out of turn 1. Safety car deployed will close up the pack, but it also gives Beatnik another chance to try and claim back that 3rd place spot he had lost out on.
Yeah, but there's looks like JNR is glitched because Spangley and Faded just passed them.
Also, before that happened, Titan, when the safety car was originally deployed, there was a little dispute going on for 7th between Valkyrie and Mythic. So, since the safety car did get deployed, and before we get any pit stops, I do want to announce the Detroit Lions do beat the Chicago Bears to take the victory on Thanksgiving. 23-20 the score there. Now we wonder what the final ending of this one will be here tonight in Tier 3.
Let's see what happens here as cars are coming in. Leon, Nesky's in.
Oh.
We just lost
Jim
Jim
Bob lags out, but Faded has been overtaken, I think, in the pit lane,
yes,
potentially.
He was.
That will see the stewards, I'm sure. That is not allowed under the safety car.
On board. And Faded,
there you go.
just
Sauber,
like with the Red Bulls.
double stack.
Yeah, Faded, just like with the Red Bulls. With the Red Bulls, he Faded only had the left wheels over the pit line. The right wheels was over. Leon's on the enters.
That's what I just noticed. Leon Minor
oh my God.
chooses to go on wet tires on a dry track.
Who else but Leon?
What is he thinking? What is he thinking? Well, soft compound tires for the drivers who do pit besides Netsky.
Yeah, Netsky going on to the medium compound tires. I mean, given how late we are into the race, I think this medium might be a bit of a bad call on Netsky's part because F1 Shorts, Faded, JNR, Maddie, Max, and Zora, they have the advantage. They have the advantage now because these softs, they'll definitely go pretty good. Because if they keep it well, the safety car will go in with about 4 to go. and I think it's small advantage for the guys on the softs.
I think Netsky's feeling like the soft tires will just fall off a cliff here in order for him to take the places that he wants to. I mean, I do understand the risk of the soft tires, but I agree with the strategy, though, from Faded, JNR, Maddie, Max, Zora, and even F1 Shorts. Out of the race is Jim Bob as he joins back the session. That's our second driver to say goodbye to tonight, but that's very unfortunate. Jim Bob in his return as he joins back the session gets retired by the game.
Yeah, I guess he couldn't take control of the car, so unfortunately, that is the end for Jim Bob. He is out.
That promotes Mally in 9th with everything that happened under the safety car with drivers pitting. Spangley to 10th, F1 Shorts 11th, and then with Jim Bob's DNF, Netsky 12th, Faded 13th, JNR 14th, Leon Miner switching off of the inters back onto softs. I mean, if you think about the choice that he made there, I know it was unserious, Titan, but he could have actually saved himself a few places here. And he crashes out of the race. Leon is out. Exiting the pit lane. He slams the barrier to end his night.
How? How did he do that?
He just went straight. He just went straight on.
Oh my god.
I'm done. I'm done. My word.
I think we'll just say hands down, unfortunately. Even though Leon is a bit of a walking meme, I would say that is our fail of the day.
But his good mate Mally41 could take a points finish now. Coming from a qualifying ban, that has to be a good drive so far. Mally41. Up 11 places since the start. Beatnik up 8. Good stuff there.
Man, oh man.
Oh my word. Well, we will be getting a safety car restart. Whenever that is now becomes the question because of Leon Miner's accident. But Fusion, Alex, Timbed, Hyper, Polish, that's your top 5. Beatnik, Valk, Mythic, Mally, and Spangley round of the top 10. I want to have you guys in the Twitch chat keep an eye out on some of these drivers outside the top 10. Zora, Faded, JNR, Netsky, and F1 Shorts. They all could cause havoc here in the last 6 laps of the race as we restart this one with 5 to go. You said safety car in? I'll have you call it.
Yeah, so Lero in control of the field. Let's see how Alex responds. Now, Lero fired off at the entrance of pit road. Will he do that again? Alex Norris just biding his time, waiting, just watching as Lero warming those tires, getting themselves ready for the restart here. Where's he gonna go? Oh, he's waiting until the grid to go. He's off.
And we have movement further back. 3rd place up for grabs. 2nd place up for grabs. How about Timbed and Alex Norris racing at wheel to wheel? Valkyrie and Beatnik racing wheel to wheel. Another battle between them, just like Bahrain. Now, Alex Norris diving down the inside. Contact, wheel banging, down to turn 3. Almost 3 wide, but it's 2 rows deep of 2x2. Further back, there's a lot of movement. Mally up to 8th. Mythic getting overtaken, but Alex Norris holds on to 2nd, and a lot of contact now for 3rd.
Yeah, Timbed with a little bump with Hyper in turn 3, a little bumping on the exit turn 3, but Timbed maintains it out of 4 and into the chicane.
And still, Beatnik, Mally ghosting inside on one another. Glitching there for 7th place. We're going to see who wants it more. But yeah, JNR ahead of F1 Shorts. Zora ahead of Max. A lot of places being swapped with a few laps to go. And all could be deciding factors of this finish. Timbed has lost pursuit of Alex Norris. That's crucial there. Meanwhile, we just got to remind you, the safety car notification in the top of our screen is a glitch. We are under green flag racing conditions. And we're going to wonder who gets 3rd in this finish because Hyper could be getting his first podium as well as Alpine's in Tier 3.
A little further back, by the way, Netsky and Mythic chasing Mally down, 48th place spot. Mally is within DRS of Beatnik as Netsky not willing to wait any longer. He gets past Mythic for the 9th place spot. And here he goes. Is he going to make a move anywhere else? The answer is no. Mally thought he to peek on Beatnik, but just can't seem to get it done. Netsky almost lost it.
Hyper almost lost it. Hyper had a big error out of turn 1 that allows Polish Hammer alongside, and for the second week running, he could take his 3rd podium here in RPL. Polish Hammer on the move. Is he going to try it? No. Meanwhile, Beatnik hangs on for 7th, and as you said, that battle for 9th heating up. That battle for 12th now heating up. Both Red Bulls have had a disastrous day. JNR, with more damage to his end plate, gets 12th place over Faded.
Yeah, Polish try to go for a shot on Hyper. He had the overtake deploy, but Hyper's caught. Hyper off!
And Alpine's first podium in Tier 3 could be done. Collision at the castle section.
Oh, that was...
Valkyrie and Hyper clash.
Yeah, that was a disaster.
Valkyrie running inside the top 10, now out of it. Hyper, out of a chance for a podium. That puts Timbed in 3rd comfortably over Polish. Look who's in the top 5. Beatnik and Mally41 with a great recovery drive after a qualifying ban sits 6th right now.
I think that's gonna be a penalty on Hyper because before the braking zone, Valkyrie was ahead going into the braking zone, so I think Hyper should have backed out, but he opted not to, and that resulted in a mess and a half. And also with Valkyrie's bad positioning, she couldn't move anywhere else without risking damage. She had no choice but to reset to track.
Thrilling stuff. Mally41 takes over the top 5 place. Beatnik gets done there by Netsky. Hyper trying to get the place back. And we have more crashes. JNR has had a shunt at turn 1. The top 3.
Beatnik got into Hyper.
And now Mythic gets the place there as well. Spangley gets Hyper too. A lot of action happening in the midfield. Spangley gets the place back on Beatnik. So much happening to end this Grand Prix with 3 laps remaining. And now a move. Hyper on the inside of F1 Shorts was trying to go on both Haas's but couldn't do it. The top 3 are within DRS.
Hyper really needs to calm himself down because this is basically a deja vu to last season in Tier 1 when Leo was having issues himself and was getting himself into debacles. And the frustration was, and the tension was starting to get a bit too much for him. Hyper's dealing with that same scenario.
Well, with that being said, Titan, you have people like Faded, Maddie, Zora, who have not had good days, who could be on for points finishes with that being said. That would be amazing stuff for the teams they race for. Just a reminder, folks, all teams have scored points this season.
But it's teams like Williams.
Yeah, it's teams like Williams, though, who've done more in certain races like Bahrain, the upset podium there, the upset podium for Sauber last season. Could we see the same again? Mally41 trying not to be the one to be left without DRS. It looks like a 3-car drag race down to turn 1, and it is. Mally41 was left without DRS. He's going to be left in the dust now as we go down to turn 1. Netsky gets the place. Further back, we have Real Hyper trying to go for the move on Beatnik, and he'll get the upper edge there as well.
What happened to JNR?
We've lost another one. He goes to the pit lane, I believe, and that is it for him. 2 to go in Baku. Fusion versus Alex Norris with Timbed waiting in the background. Beatnik up another place there as well. Now Hyper gaining, and ahead on the outside, but in the wall. Into the wall he goes, and his chance for points is done, Titan. You said he was getting aggressive, and the aggression ended up in the wall.
Yeah. He has to be more careful. He has to be more careful. That's the unfortunate curse of Baku. If you get a little frustrated going into it, it's going to hurt you very badly. And Hyper, by the way, is the first person into the track warning penalty club.
We are gonna have a thriller to end this one. Lyral Fusion, the championship leader, leads the Grand Prix, coming to the last lap. Alex Norris, who started on pole, has never won from
We're
pole,
gonna
but
see
he
a
has won a
war.
race. And
We're gonna see a
Timbed, who had the
war.
podium stolen from him last week, is waiting there in the wings for something to happen. He has his opportunity to pounce here as well. Alex Norris boosting behind Fusion as we reach the final lap. Fusion has 40% worse battery than Alex Norris, and Timbed, who's waiting in the background, also going quick there in the Merc as well.
If I was Fusion after this DRS zone coming up now, I would put ERS deployment to none, and then once you get out of that fast chicane, dump everything.
It is really going to come down to the wire. Alex Norris moving around in the braking zone, trying everything he can to disrupt that McLaren from his usual activities. Fusion holding on for now, but Alex Norris tantalizingly close to the McLaren. Alex Norris could be moved up a tier after tonight, but he wants to go out in style if that's the case. And Fusion leads the championship. He wants to extend it by even more.
And Norris has pretty much a full battery available to him, while Fusion has only half a battery available to him. So advantage Norris.
Valkyrie stole the fastest lap there in the background. She's outside the points. She's taking away from somebody inside of the points. 3/10 the deficit as we head to what's going to be the final sector. The final dance to decide this. Alex Norris has won once, but not for Ferrari. Fusion's won once, but only for McLaren. Timbed there waiting as well. Here comes the deployment. Alex Norris in the S section. Right in the back of the McLaren. Now going side by side. Down to the wire we go. One last chance. Side by side. Fusion hanging on. And he will not do it. Alex Norris prevails in a photo finish. Unbelievable.
Wow.
Can you believe it? Alex Norris, second win of the season. More photo finish to be decided. Look at this. 3 wide with the Saubers. Fusion gets his 4th podium. Timbed gets his 1st. And Mally41 made a great comeback to get 6th.
Look at the difference between Beatnik and F1 Shorts. Beatnik missed out by 8 thousandths of a second.
Whoa! Hyper goes in the air and takes flight to end the race. What a chaotic ending in Baku, a photo finish. Baku never disappoints. It delivers once again, and that is the closest Tier 3 margin of victory.
Oh my.
8 milliseconds decide the 2 Haas's crossing the line. Alex Norris has now won for both Italian teams. You know the only other person who can say that in this league, Titan? Jack Miles, who won this race in Tier 1 the last time we were here. Alex Norris lifting the trophy and spraying the champagne. 63 thousandths decide the top 2. Those are your results.
And only one person with track limit penalties. Everybody else kept it very good.
Good stuff there, folks. Netsky recovered back to the top 5. Good stuff there after his troubles to open up the Grand Prix. Mythic, Spengly, F1 Shorts, Beatnik, they all got points finishes for their respective teams and their respective drives. We lost 4 drivers, 3 of them with a DNF. Titan, who would you give driver of the day to from tonight's event?
I mean, you have Will, who started the dead end of the field with the qual ban and finished in P6, which I think is really good. But I mean, you have Netsky, who got monkeyed over during the event and managed to pull off a comeback and get fit and get 5th. That's also pretty dang good as well.
Yeah, Mally41 or Netsky. For me, that's what I have to say. But Titan, Baku never disappoints. What a thrilling finish to that race. Whether or not Alex Norris gets moved up to Tier 2, that will become the question midweek. But the answer that we have for this race is that it was amazing.
Absolutely.
I mean, I apologize for missing the F1 shorts and beatnik finish at the end there, but you got to give credit to our two leaders at the very end who kept it extremely clean and really put it all down to the to the limit and the finish there at the end with them too. I mean, that just kept me on the edge of my seat, them two.
Oh, yeah.
Coming to the line there, 63 milliseconds, the closest Tier 3 finish. Haas, again, get a good finish, extending their run of consecutive points finishes. Tim Bed, after heartbreak last week, onto the podium. The first time a German driver gets a podium since Payox. I have to repeat that because, again, if you're not here earlier on or at the end of last week, he did get the podium taken away from the guy who finished 4th, Polish Hammer. Top 4, 2 weeks in a row. Polish Hammer. Good stuff there from him. He definitely needed a good result and got one once again. Feel good story for him to continue this good run of success he's having. Beatnik could have had the podium. He scored a points finish. F1 Shorts scored another points finish there after the trouble he had. Netsky, good recovery drive. I mean, all good stories today. Mally 41 as well from that qualifying ban. We don't see him often on this field. I know the quote-unquote downfall some people talk about Titan from his Tier 1 days as a Tier 1 champion, they say has to be studied, but for him to get a result he got tonight from the qualifying ban and in the car he was in, it's a good job well done there.
Yeah, very much so indeed. It's been quite a race so far, and I mean, if this race has been quite exciting, who knows what's up to come for the rest of the weekend.
Exactly. Speaking of the rest of the weekend, let's tell you about it. Portugal, tomorrow for Tier 2. It's the 150th race under the Tier 2 banner. We have F2 in Miami on Saturday and F1 in Australia to end off the weekend. What could happen, folks? You let us know. Tier 3 next week, though. For a home race, the majority of the drivers have Silverstone. That will be a great one. The race back there in Season 1, Titan, also saw a 3-horse race for the finish. I don't know if we'll see a photo finish this time, but very well reminiscent to Season 1 Britain, tonight's race with a 3-horse race for the win. Good stuff to see. Any closing thoughts before we end off?
No, I got nothing on my end. It's been quite a race. We've seen some good racing, some wild moments, and good finishes all the way. I'm actually excited to see what the rest of the weekend's got in store.
I have one closing statement to make before I end off, folks. Very well done on the DNF rate, folks. Only 3 or 4 out of it, and that's really good for Baku standards, especially compared to what Tier 1 did in Jeddah. And happy Thanksgiving to those of you who celebrate, whether you're from America or not. It's very good to be thankful that we have a race we had today, and a good one at that, to end off. Anyway, Ryan Searles, RPL Titan Iron signing off. We will see you tomorrow for action in Tier 2 around Portugal. If you don't see us tomorrow, though, you'll see us in Tier 3 next week around Silverstone, the home of RPL. Until next time, folks, good night and goodbye. We'll see you then.